good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on when you're watching, and assalamu alaikum, and welcome to a brand new Club 100 video. This is the 2023 season opener. It's not the Sprint Championship, it's like a season opening event, and there are two 1 hour races. So I made a team with a lovely guy called Nick, and I'm doing the first 2.5 hours of said races. So this first race we're starting in, I think, P8, and it's also the first time I'm doing a highlight video of an endurance, so I'm not sure how this format is going to pan out compared to the sprints where it's a lot easier, but hey ho, I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. So it's very feisty, as you can see, in the first couple of corners, and into hairpin 2 we try to just hold on to the inside, and we regain a whole bunch of places really, and Matt Horgan does get past us. Matt Horgan was my teammate back in the 2021 Endurance Championship, so I know Matt very well. And I did have a little bit of an audacious ending on him in one corner as Mike Coppin gets past, which allowed another driver to get past, and then Matthew Cockram sends one up my inside. So Coppin, Sam Lovelace and Cockram all get past me in the space of a couple of corners. But I know that's how lap ones go, right? So you have to be prepared that you're going to gain a couple of positions, you'll lose a few positions, but as long as you're not in a wall, as long as you don't lose like 10 positions, you're fine. You can get your head down, you can try to climb your way back up through the field, and to be honest, that was just the plan for me, especially with 3 months out of a Club 100 car, our last race being in November, actually here at Buckmore, just like the first round of the Sprint Championship. We'll be here at Buckmore on like February the 28th, also live streamed as well. So if you want to see me racing live with a very professional broadcasting team that is Alpha Live, make sure to tune in. Anwar Beryl Smith sends one up paddock, which then allows Dickie Allen to go up our inside into Ghana, and then we just about hold a position through Cafe Corner. I'm trying to remember who's behind me. I think it might be no, it's not Chris Walcott. It is a couple of others who are fighting, and we end up losing 3 places. We're on the outside into turn 1, and we just get muscled out a bit, lose places. And this has always been my kind of issue. I'm a decent driver once I can get into a rhythm, but it's always like the first 5 laps of a race. It just takes me a bit too long to get into that rhythm, especially when there's lots of karts squabbling, like 5-6 karts. If it's just one other kart, I can battle fine. But when it's a huge bunch of karts, it does become tricky. The good thing though is that there is a big group of karts up ahead, 7-8 karts, who are all fighting. So despite me dropping back, I was actually able to catch up rather well, just because of how much everyone in front was battling and squabbling between themselves. As we head into turn 1 to start lap 4, and there's one of the barriers, plastic barriers, that has kind of become dislodged. The guy in front of us goes wide, but he's still on the inside for hairpin 2. We try to go for a switchback, but we don't quite get the drive, and you can't really go side by side into this chicane anyway, so it's better just to sit behind and work with the driver in front. As we go through the slalom, I then decide to have a send up the inside into Ghana, and he then rejoins the track in front of me. I don't know if that was a bit too late of a send, but I don't think I got a penalty or a warning for contact or anything, so we'll take it. Actually, let's see if it's got my number here as we come across. No, it's for someone else, so I guess it was clean. Into turn 1, I think, maybe I can go up the inside, but I'm too far back. I've got to back out of it, otherwise I'm going to get my nose completely chopped off, and that wouldn't be smart. As on lap 6, these two are battling, and again, you can see how much we've caught up to everyone as a result. Because they're wide through hairpin 2, and the guy in front doesn't get the best of front, it means that I get to go up the inside and retake a position, which makes me very happy. As we slowly come through the field, and then on to lap 7, we get sent up the inside into hairpin 2. I try to go for the switchback, but I just don't get the drive, and then you can see I have a little blip off the throttle just so that I can lift off and feed in behind, and we don't have to go side by side into the S's. And I lift off a bit too much going into Ghana, which allows Mr. Alcott to send one up my inside and take the position very nicely and very cleanly as well. I think Chris actually finished 4th in the heavyweight sprint championship last year, behind Anwar, Dickie Allen, and who's the other guy? Joe Holmes. I'm pretty sure those 3 were at the top, and then I think it was Chris. So very quick driver, but you can still see there's that whole group of cars in front of me, and they aren't getting away. And then on lap 8, they're just battling like absolute nutters. They're practically 3 abreast going into Cafe Corner, and you can see there's loads of loading. We actually come off the throttle so that we don't run into the back of anyone. And that's just kind of my plan in these endurance. Just keep it clean. And when there's these big bunch of karts battling, just wait for someone to overtake someone else, push someone wide, and then you'll get a position, and then you can just keep on doing that as Chris gets held up on the exit of hairpin 2. And I have a think momentarily, can I get past him? And then think, nah, it's probably not worth it, because again, going side by side into that chicane is always going to end in absolute tears. So through Ghana Corner we go, lap 9 of the race, and this time Chris does have a send through Ghana Corner. Sorry, the previous one was Paddock Bend, I believe. And then we go up the hill through Cafe Corner, and we've got a decent run, but it's not going to be enough to get a run and pass anyone up the inside into turn 1. So we just sit behind and just wait for an opportunity. Maybe we could go up the inside of hairpin 1, and we end up doing it, not even on the brakes, because usually I'm never able to overtake anyone under the brakes. I just don't have that confidence. And it's something that I need to get, because when you go to tracks like Rye House, you have to be able to overtake people into hairpin 1, and I never can. So that's probably the thing that I need to sort out of my racing as quickly as possible. As Chris goes up the inside of Mr. Matt Horgan, and we're just going to try to follow everyone through. We're pushing the cart in front of us along so that we can stay a part of this battle. A little bit of contact between those two, and we've got nowhere to go, so we just push whoever's in front of us. It's a pushing game. We're spurring people on, and Matt, on the brakes, we are able to go up his inside and take the position, and then into hairpin 2. Matt isn't able to have a go back at us. Now, after the race, Matt actually told me that his brakes effectively failed, so he had to come into the pits and get his car changed, because coming here into Paddock Bend, you'll see that I back out of the corner because I see Matt almost sending me from really far back, and it turns out his brakes just weren't working properly. So that's effectively what happened there. And I thought, you know what, I'll keep the clip in the highlight video as we start lap 15, and once again we have a big group of karts. We've got one of the Warwick drivers. I've always loved those Warwick drivers. They're really simple but really clean, and I believe that Warwick driver started from pole as a couple of drivers going side by side. We get overtaken by Mr. Richard Allen, who I'm guessing had to serve a penalty of some kind on the previous lap. He's caught back up to our little fun battle, and we have a send up the inside of Paddock Bend, get the job done. Textbook overtake, really. Paddock is always where you overtake, but as a result we compromise ourselves and we get overtaken through Ghana Corner, and that's just how it goes when you've got this big battle or big pack of karts. You overtake one, you compromise yourself, and you lose the position to someone else. We get a good run though coming out of hairpin 2, and we are up the inside, which means that the guy on the outside has to yield and give us the position, because, well, you shouldn't go side by side into that corner. Now, Mr. Warwick is left out to dry through Ghana. Sorry, not through Ghana, through Paddock Bend, and that means we get to go up his inside on exit and up the inside through Ghana as I get a case of the hiccups. And now we're behind Dan Seeger, and really this is one of the few times I was actually quicker than Dan, because I think pretty much throughout the entirety of last year in the Sprint Championship, Dan was always that little bit quicker than me, a bit like Sam Essery actually. The pair of them always just had that 1 or 2 tenths over me every single race meet. But this time at Buckmore, I seem to have that little advantage, which I guess means things are looking well for the first round of the Sprint Championship, unless I have just made the mistake of cursing myself, but we'll find out in a month's time. Through hairpin 1 we go on lap 29 of the race, and we have a really nice switcheroo, go up the inside of hairpin 2, get the job done. I just knew they was going to come out wide, kind of cover me off, so I just committed for the inside. And the weird thing is with karting, when you commit for a move like that and you decide, right, I'm going to go up the inside, you can't back out of it. So if they turn in a bit earlier, then it looks like you just did a really bad move. Coming though onto lap 32, we have a sent up the inside of Mr. Matt Hawken, and that was from really felt back. That, I think, was a bit sketchy. I spoke to him afterwards. He said it's fine. I think he was just being nice to me, because that was quite a late lunge, and I essentially decided to go for it because there were 2 karts, right? Matthew Cochran was in front of Matt Horgan, and it meant that Matt had to go on the race a bit earlier. We do get overtaken as a result, and then I see these 2 battling, and as a result it means that, hey, I can just get a good exit, go up the inside, and then the guy in front brakes really early, and I didn't realise how slow he was going to be. And I mean, you see that we catch like 3 kart lengths, so I'm kind of just forced to send it up the inside of him. Not intentional, I didn't plan on doing it, I just wanted to overtake the previous 2, but hey, 3 in the space of 1 corner isn't bad. As we come to start lap 35 of the race, and he waves me through, which is always very nice. So thank you very much, whoever you are. And now I can see Matthew Cochran in front, so I just wanted to hunt him down. And I was slowly gaining on him. We're talking about a 10th or so every lap as we go up the inside of Paddock Bend. We have a little bit of contact coming in just because I get caught out. He gets a little bit wobbly. And then on lap 40, we come into the pits to end our first stint. So a good, return to Club 100 for the season opening event. And then Nick jumps into the kart. Now, sadly, we actually would have finished this race in 2nd or 3rd in class, so like 9th or 10th overall. But we had a bit of an incident actually at the end of the race. Actually, on the very last lap of the race, this happened, which we will shortly transition to. So there's this big group of karts, and you can actually see 2nd in class. He's a guy with the red helmet who's 4th in this train, going up the inside into Ghana now. So Nick kind of sees all of this battling going on and gets optimistic and tries to go up the inside of Cafe, and essentially it becomes full wide, ends in disaster, and we end up on the grass. And as a result, you can't get going on the grass. You actually need to push your car onto the circuit. If you try to go from the grass, you can even be disqualified because you ruin the clutches. So unfortunately, we didn't get a podium in the CT class for that race, but for our second race of the day, we're starting all the way from the back of the field. We're starting behind Bryn Albin, who is a very quick C2 driver, actually a C1 driver now, in fact being promoted. And see, look at us, we're very nice, we're staying in the white tram lines. Meanwhile, Yorkie, Bryn and others aren't staying in their tram lines, and then people get murdered on the outside of turn 1. We try to hold it nice and tight into hairpin 1, so that nobody can send us, and now we're on the outside for hairpin 2, so I'm just going to hold it around the outside. I know I'm going to lose some positions on corner exit, which I do, but the point is that we don't lose big positions, we don't get taken out. It's about being able to stay clean on the opening lap and not being taken advantage of. We get a good run through the slalom, and you know what, in fairness to Mr. Henderson, he holds it around the outside through Paddock Bend, which is a very brave move, and he makes it work really well as well. We get a good run though coming out through Ghana, and now we just try to join the party, join the fun. We lift off, and then we see the green and yellow chevron flag, which essentially means full start. We need to redo the start because the first start was so much of a mess. It's effectively the equivalent of red flagging a race and restarting it, but at the very start, like after the first one. So here we go then for the second race start. This time we don't get as much of a good getaway because nobody crashes and dies through turn 1. And now we're in the middle. I would have wanted to be on the inside, but we're not, can't do much. That's Andrew Warder gets through, and then poor old number 18 has nowhere to go. He's on the grass, he tries to rejoin, gets spun around. And then we're just trying to make our way through the field, trying to keep things relatively clean, trying to push Mr. Steve Lindley along, who was also my endurance teammate in 2021, along with Mr. Matt Horgan, and we finished that season actually in 3rd in the rookie class. So good fun season we had. We won a few races as well. As Mr. James Whittaker goes up my inside. James was Dan's teammate who I met on the day. Lovely guy, and I had a really fun race with him as well. Which you will see, because James has the best of me, and I have a think about going up the inside of turn 1, but have to decide against it because, well, trying to go for that move would be incredibly stupid. Although I find a way to do that move later on in this race, you're going to have to stay tuned. Also, I didn't mention this, but I got the fastest lap. My fastest lap in heat in the first race was the or sorry, it had the fastest final sector time of anyone in that first race. So I've got that video or that lap saved for the end of this race if anyone wants to take a look. Either way, James goes up the inside of someone and we're able to follow through, and then Fraser's trying to carve his way through the field through Garner Corner, and now it's Fraser, James and myself as we start a lap, and the three of us kind of just work together for a bit. We let Fraser do, you know, the hard work of actually overtaking people, and then we just followed Fraser through a little bit like we did through turn one. My God, Fraser, he just launches out of that corner like nobody's business. He's practically, you know what, I need to watch that. It's a secret to Fraser's pace. For those who don't know, Fraser is the lightweight sprint champion from last year. Very, very quick driver in CLUB100. So if you're on pace with Fraser, then you're very good. And then through here, we just try to follow everyone through. I give Fraser a little bump so he can get back up the inside of James, and they go side by side on the exit of Garner Corner. And we're back to the original order. So look at me, Milky Cereal, creating order in CLUB100, as things should be. I don't know. But this time we're too far back to really capitalise on Fraser's move through turn one. And I think at this point Fraser just starts to pull away from us through the field, which was a little bit of a shame because we were keeping up, and actually James and myself had some really good pace. But as I mentioned before, I've always struggled in the first few laps of a race. Once we get to like lap 5 and things clear up, and I just get a bit of clear air, I can start putting in some really good laps. This time James tries to go up the inside through Garner Corner, through Paddock Bend, and that means that I get to follow him through on exit. So thank you very much. And essentially that's what I was doing. I was just letting the person in front of me overtake and then following them through. But this time, as we go through Cafe Corner, there is a whole Constantino kart, and I try to push James along so that he can get up the inside of Mr. Conman. And yeah. And then I think, maybe there's space for me on the inside, but James very smartly slams the door shut just about. If I was like another centimetre further up his inside, he couldn't have done that. So almost pulled it off. But a fun race, and now we're just going to try to catch up to the group of karts up ahead. And again, James goes up the inside into hairpin 1, but I now have the outside for hairpin 2, which is kind of difficult to overtake through. And so now I've lost Fraser and I've lost James, because while I take my sweet time getting past this guy, James just kind of plows through the rest of the field. Too far back to have ascent into Paddock Curve or Paddock Bend, and I don't get a good run through it either. So yeah, now these two are side by side, and that's good news for me, because I think, hey, I can get involved in this, but I just carry a bit too much speed, clip his rear, and I lose all my momentum out of the corner. Heading into turn 1, again, no way through on lap 9 of the race. Now these two are side by side, so I figure he's going to go up the inside. Maybe I can follow him through. But again, the issue is I'm now on the outside for hairpin 2, and I've got nowhere to go, so I can't gain the position. And all this means is I'm falling back from, I think that is Hussein Rashid that James Whittaker is back now. It looks like his orange and black helmet. So coming then through into Paddock Corner, we just kind of send up the inside. We get the job done. I think that was a pretty clean overtake, but it compromises me, and as a result I get overtaken through Garner, which is not pleasant, because you spend time trying to overtake someone, eventually you pull off an overtake, but we have super speed because my car is absolutely broken. So we get to the end of the straight and we go at about 2 million miles an hour. Like here, I almost get up the inside of this guy. Little bit of contact, a bit cheeky from me, and it means I can go up the inside into hairpin 1. So this car just had ridiculous top end. Coming out of the low speed corners, it wasn't great, so it's a bit slower than my first race car, but it made overtaking at the end of the straight so easy. Same is left to hang out wide to dry through Paddock Bend, which means that we get to go up the inside through Garner. So another position for us as we can try to climb up through the field. Now, it is time to introduce this guy in front of us, I believe, to super speed. Just look how much we close up. I mean, some of that's under braking, but it's also just the straight line speed. And then we have ascend up the inside. We just nose our way up the inside of hairpin 1. And then from really far back, I just have ascend into this corner because Mr. Red Zoo kind of outbrakes himself, goes a bit wide, and I say, to hell with it. Let's have ascend. we pull off the move, and now big gap to the guys ahead, and we can try to catch them, as that is Mr. James Whittaker side by side with someone, and as a result they cost each other time. We're going to demonstrate our super speed and help this guy in front of us through, and we gain another position. Honestly, super speed might look like I just have a really good kart, but it's all me. It's just 100% skill as we send it up the inside of hairpin 2. Look at that skill. That's how you get super speed, right? It's about how hard you can press the throttle. Like the other drivers don't realize this, but you can actually change gears like in the Hollywood movie. That's how I go so fast in a straight line. As we now catch up to this pack in front of us, and I have a send up the inside of hairpin 2 on Mr. Whittaker, and I regain my pride. And now I can try to catch up to everyone else. And there's Mo Hassan. And Mo, can I introduce you to my friend Super Speed? Oh, would you look at that. Super Speed coming in again. Absolutely incredible. Yes, I am incredibly cringe, and I am a child when it comes to editing my videos. Either way, we've got more battling happening. I think I can have a go at the inside of like the second part of turn 1. I can't. It fails. So I've got to sit behind these guys as Mr. Blue and White Helmet goes up the inside of Silver Helmet. And we're just forced to sit behind and watch this unfold. And at this point I'm thinking, right, I'm just going to try to have a go down into Paddock Bend. So I try to have a good run through the slalom, up the inside of Paddock. Job done. We gain a position, and now we can hunt down Mr. Blue and White Helmet as we make our way over the crest of Ghana. Sadly though, I did get a black flag for this, and this actually costed us third place in the C2 class. So I tried to go up the inside. It's a little bit late. I got a black flag for it. Look, I'll leave it to viewers to decide. I think it's a bit harsh. It wasn't. I don't think it's very harsh, but I think it was a little bit harsh. But I can see why I got the black flag. I have a mistake through hairpin 1, and that allows James Whittaker to get back past me, which was incredibly annoying. And then as I come across the line, I see that I've got a black flag, and I actually forgot. When I have a black flag, am I supposed to come into the pits, or do I stay up? Because in the sprint championship, you don't get black flags. You just get like position penalties at the end of the race. You are supposed to come into the pits. It's just been too long and I forgot. So I come into the pits on the next lap. It definitely wasn't because I wanted to get back past James. Absolutely not the reason. I fully respect black flags, and I'm definitely being sarcastic. So as we make our way through Paddock Bend, I know that I have to serve that black flag, because at this point I realised, right, I need to do it. So I decided to introduce James to my friend Super Speed. Super Speed is honestly my new best friend forever. And with that, we pull a Nico Rosberg, which is to beat someone and then immediately retire as we come into the pits. Oh, you gotta love Nico. So yeah, we come in behind Mr. Richard Allen, who once again has a penalty. Bad dicky. And then when we come out, I find my pathway blocked. How am I supposed to get out there? I was a little bit upset from that, but I lost like a second. It's no big deal. After a black flag, everything just annoys you and irritates you a lot more than it originally would have. Either way, we are out of the pits, and now it's just get our heads down and try to, damage limitation. And I think, oh, who's this guy? Let me introduce him to my friend Super Speed. But then he lets me through, which means I can't, show him how awesome my car is. His loss. Anyway, we are now catching up to Mr. Kim Randall, who actually was on a team with me in the Endurance Championship and filled in when Matt Horgan and Steve Linley weren't around. And I'm able to go up his inside because I have a weight advantage over him, and it means that it's a very easy opening. Anyway, we catch up to this guy. Let me make a joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? Super! Super who? Super Speed! Yeah, I did find loads of different Eurobeat songs. Also, I've had to be really fast because I realized that when I've edited this video down and then I do the voiceover on it, I haven't given myself like much time to talk. So everything feels like I'm having to like rush insane as we catch up to another person and we demonstrate super speed as we go up the inside of turn 1. So I do apologize for all the Eurobeat songs. It was just very funny. To me, at least. And it took all that I could to not make like a full montage of all of the super speed overtakes and just play it to the Deja Vu music. Also, it was really annoying because I can only use like a 10-second clip. And when I hear it, I start getting into the music and then I have to like cut the music because the overtake's done. We overtake someone into Paddock Bend and then they overtake me back into Ghana. The disrespect that I am being shown here is absolutely ridiculous. I think it is time to demonstrate super speed. Yeah, that'll show him. See, I'm like a BMW driver on the road, you know, just point and squirt. So I'm point and squirting my way into the pit lane at the end of my stint. So yeah, that brings an end really to this video. All that's left is my hot lap. So if anyone wants to see how I set a very nice time of a 45.9 in Heat 1, then this next part of the video is for you. Otherwise, I will be catching everyone for round 1 of the Sprint Championship at Buckmore in a month's time. So with that said, here is the lap of dreams, a 45.9, which was, I think, the 3rd or 4th fastest lap of the heats. It was quick. I'll never be able to recreate it, but into turn 1 we go, late on the brakes, kind of clip the apex, and then you miss the apex through the second part, into hairpin 1, early apex, get on the power as early as possible. You don't need to let the kart all the way out, pull it back to the right, and then you want to get this second part of hairpin 2. There's a few different lines you can take through hairpin 2. Completely flat through the first chicane, and then into the second chicane, I do a little bit of a lift, and then that means you can carry so much speed through the left-hander, get the kart set up nicely, back on the power as early as you can through paddock curve, and you can see how much time we've gained into Garnet. Slow it down, come over the crest, and keep your steering wheel as straight as possible so you can get the power down. Otherwise, you just lose so much time. Flat through Cafe Corner, and that is a 45.9 at Buckmore Park. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks for a special video at Daytona Milton Keynes, because I can confirm that Black Bloxer has won the karting giveaway with the closest predicted lap time to my fastest lap. So they'll be joining me for a session in some road taxis at Milton Keynes, free of charge. Hopefully I get to do more giveaways like that in the future. But yeah, that's everything. So I will see you guys at some point on the channel. If you did enjoy this video, do leave a like and subscribe as well. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.